right, we're back to ninth grade lit, and we're going to read it, start on page 65, and you may begin.
All right. Beowulf, son of Ecgtheow, spoke. We have gone through with a glorious endeavor, and been much favored in this fight. We dared against the unknown. Nevertheless, if you could have seen the monster himself, where he lay beaten, I would have been better pleased. My plan was to pounce and pin him down in a tight grip, and grapple him to death. Have him panting for life, powerless and clasped in my bare hands, his body enthralled. But I couldn't stop him from slipping my hold. The Lord allowed it. My lock on him wasn't strong enough. He struggled fiercely and broke and ran. Yet he bought his freedom at a high price, for he left his hand and shoulder and arm, to show he had been here, a cold comfort for having come among us. And now he won't be long for this world. He has done his worst, but the wound will end him. He has hasped and hooped and purpling with pain, limping and looped in it, like a man outlawed for wickedness. He must await the mighty judgment of God and majesty.
We just saw some more alliteration. We see quite a bit of it in this section. So that's question number 25. Remember yesterday we talked about immortality, didn't we? Did we talk about immortality? Okay. We also.
How, like, remembering is like a.
That's right. Yeah, and that's how Beowulf had made himself immortal by their standards. And we noticed all the different. We mentioned Beowulf's mother. You know, Hrothgar thanks Beowulf's mother for giving birth to Beowulf. And I think 5 or 6 times on page 63, God is mentioned. And I don't know if you've noticed this, if you watch TV much. I watch too much sports and news when I watch. But, you know, we watch a movie now and then, and, you know, things like that. And I just noticed, obviously, you never hear God mentioned on TV. Here he's mentioned 100 times in 100 pages. Here you have a worldview that is from God's view. Modern stories, everybody's doing it on their own. And it reinforces the idea that you got to do it on your own. You know, think about all the movies you watch. Nobody's praying. Nobody's asking God for help. It's as if God didn't exist. And of course, most of the time, the writers, they don't think he exists. But it's just interesting to watch. They haven't prayed once. They're doing it all on their own. And you see what a mess it is. You wonder why they get in big trouble. Because they're just following their own instincts. Beowulf's not like that. Beowulf is constantly mentioning God. That's 1,300 years ago. Things have changed. But we haven't changed. We're believers. We know that's the way to live life. But the world around you doesn't know that. So, why don't we start, when we go to Amelia, there was less tampering.
There was less tampering in big talk than from the boaster. Less of his laughter as the hall thanes eyed the awful horror of the proof of the hero's
Prowess means skill.
The splayed hand up under the eaves, every nail, claw, scale, and spur, every spike and wet welt on the hand of the heathen brute was like barbed steel. Everybody said there was no honed iron hard enough to pierce him through. No time-proof blade that could cut his brutal, blood-caked claw.
So they would examine Grendel's skin, and it's impenetrable. It's like iron. Griffin.
999.
Yes, then the order.
Then the order was given for all hands. Cavalry furthest Herod immediately. Men and women thronging the wine hall, getting it ready. Gold thread shone in the wall hangings, woven scenes that attracted and held the eyes and attention. The iron brace that's inside of it had that bright rose-laying rooms now. The very doors had been dragged from their hinges. Only the roof remained unscathed.
care of his life. But death is not easily escaped from by anyone. All of us with souls, earth dwellers, and children of men must make our way to a destination already ordained, where the body after banqueting sleeps on his deathbed.
So they're gonna rebuild here, now that Grendel is out of the way. Jacob,
Then the due time arrived for Alphane's son to proceed to the hall. The king himself would sit down to feast. No group ever gathered in greater numbers or better order than there was when he did it. The benches filled with famous music too with relish round upon round of mead was passed. Those powerful kinsmen, Othgar and were in high spirits in the rafter hall. Inside there was nothing but friendship. The shielding nation was not yet familiar with feud of the player.
no, we can share it. Andrew? Yeah, 119, 1019.
Then Halfdane's son presented Beowulf with a gold standard as signature, embroidered banner, also breast mail and a helmet, and a sword carried high. That was both precious object and a token of honor. The Beowulf drank his drink at ease. It was a hard way of saying he showed with such a gift in front of the horses. There haven't been many moments, I'm sure, when men exchanged for such treasure at so friendly a city. And in Lost Bridge, a band lapped with water arched over the helmet. Protection to keep the keen ground coming edge of damage. Is it keen ground?
What?
Keen ground?
The keen ground cutting edge.
From damaging it, when dagger threatened and man was battling behind his shield. Next, the king ordered 8 horses with gold bridles to be brought through the yard into the hall. The harnesses of one included a saddle of some system knife. The battle seat where the son of Halfdane rode when he wished to join the world of sword play. Wherever the killing and carnage were the worst, he would be to the fore, fighting hard. Then the Danish prince descended the main, handed over both the arms and the horses, urging Beowulf to use the mail. And so their leader, the lord and guard of the coffer of Strasbourg, the customary grace was bestowed upon Beowulf both sets of gifts. As a fair witness, you can see how well each can have.
I just noticed the gifts that were given to Beowulf. What do you give a warrior? Horses and armor and swords and tools of his trade. Julie.
How do you pronounce the second word?
Chieftain.
Okay. The chieftain went on to reward the others, each man on the bench who had sailed with Beowulf, and risked the voyage received the bounty, some treasured possession and compensation. A prize in gold was settled for the deed. Grendel had cruelly killed earlier, as he would have killed more, had not mindful God, and one man's daring prevented that doom. Past and present, God's will prevails. Hence, understanding is always best in a prudent mind. Whoever remains for long here in this earthly life will enjoy and endure more than enough.
All right, so they're paying off the guy, the one geek that was killed by Grendel. They're going to give him special compensation to his family when he goes back. Lots of men.
They sang then and played to please the hero. The words and music for their warrior prince, harp tunes and tales of adventure. There were high times when all vengeance, and the king's poet performed his part, with this saga of Finn and his sons, unfolding the tale of the fierce attack in Friesland, where Hneif, the king of the Danes, met death. Wait, do you want me to read the song?
Not yet. Write this down. This is another interlude. This is interlude number 2, and it's called the Frisian Slaughter.
Is that what this song
Yes, it's a song. I'm gonna give you some of the names. I'm just trying to give you the basic names here. We won't have time to read it, so let me just tell it to you and we'll read it tomorrow. This is called the Frisian Slaughter, and in this story, you have this young Danish girl named Hildebert, and she marries a Frisian king named Finn, right? They're in a place called Friesland. It's Friesland. But anyway, they're having a wedding party, and for some reason, Finn kills her brother Knife. That's how I'm pronouncing it. Hnaef. Right, so Finn kills Knife, and this party turns into a battle between the Frisians and the Danes. And actually, at some point, Hildebert's 2 children are killed. So maybe this is after the wedding. I can't remember the location. But her 2 children are killed. Her brother is killed. And then they sign a truce. And so during the winter, there's no fighting. At the end of the winter, Hengist, who is another Dane, attacks Finn and kills her and takes Hildebert back to Denmark. So it's the worst kind of party you can imagine. It starts off with a celebration and ends up, Hildebert is kidnapped, her husband, her brother, and her 2 children are all killed. And the problem is, why would 2 countries that are kind of at war, why would they want to intermarry between those 2 countries? What would be the benefit, the strategy? So they could bring the 2 countries together? Somebody said. All right, so you're trying to have, it's like a political marriage. That if it works, that's great, but this doesn't work. And what happens instead is all these people die. So tomorrow when we get back here, we're going to, excuse me, we're going to read about this after the quiz.
Is it elective next?
No, Spanish.
Next class, then lunch, then elective.
So you don't do something